reseller friends, welcome to the latest edition of Seller's Corner, your go-to source for all things reselling. I'm Erin, product specialist at Vendoo, and today we're going to talk about how to stain treat clothing. We'll talk about how to get out some of the peskiest stains and some of my favorite products for my inventory to get it ready to sell. Before we do, let me invite you to subscribe to our channel. We publish content every week, and it's all related to Vendoo product tips, community updates, and information about how to grow and scale your resale business. Now that I am in some craft clothes and I have my supplies ready, let's talk about some of my favorite products. Oh my goodness, this stuff is magic, and it is called Grandma's Magic Stain Remover. I love this for almost all types of stains. It's the first step I try because it is so effective. It's truly just magic. I don't know what's in it, but it's incredible. It's safe on most fabrics. It's very inexpensive. Order this on Amazon. It will change your life. Next is the pink stuff, and this is really great, especially on shoes and accessories, but for some stains as well, on tougher fabrics. I would not call this gentle. I refer to this as like a magic erase paste, and it has a little bit of grit to it too. So with a rough brush, it does wonders on certain types of things. I love classic Clorox cleaner. Rather than just using bleach, this is a cleaner with bleach, so it's more diluted. However, it is bleach, so I only use it on white garments. It is not color safe. And finally, Amidex. This stuff is great for ink and dye. So you might have heard people that use hairspray. If you think that that works, like, you're going to be amazed by this, because this just works so much better. And of course, I have various brushes and tools, even some toothbrushes that I use. You definitely want to be gentle on items, so some fabrics and textures will require a softer bristle, and others you can really scrub hard with the tougher bristles. And today we will be seeing if we can rescue 5 different garments. The first is this men's Titleist vest. It might be tough to see the oil stain on there. You see it right there, the circle? That is an oil stain. This is a very expensive golf wear company. I can certainly yield a lot more for this without that oil stain. So there's our oil. This one is covered in ink, although I don't know if it's ink or if it's dye. If it's ink, like it was washed with a pen, then I'm very optimistic that I can get it out. If it's dye, like it was washed with a brand new dark colored garment, I'm not as optimistic, but we're gonna see what we can do. Next is this gorgeous vintage piece. It has what I would guess is makeup in several locations. It's an orangey brown. So it could be makeup, could be coffee. This is a nice thick knit garment. It almost is like a St. John texture, although it is not to St. John. But I would love to bring some life back into this vintage piece. And 2 more. These dress pants have a very clear makeup stain. In fact, I think that they were mine, and I think that this is my makeup. These, it's just foundation. They've been washed, so it's very much set. So let's see if we can do some magic on these. And I'm hoping I can save this top because I just love it so much. This hooks up here. This is a Dulce Vita blouse, and in several locations, it has, again, what could be makeup, could be coffee. I'm not sure what these stains are, but they are throughout. So let's see if we can rescue these garments together. So first, we are working with an oil stain on, and here you go, you can see it right in here, on this Titleist men's golf vest. The first thing I am going to try on this oil stain is the Grandma's Magic Stain Remover. I am wearing gloves, but this is not a harsh chemical. It's probably not necessary. It's more just to protect the hands and the manicure. And I have a soft bristle brush because as you can see, this material in a few places is almost already starting to pill. It cannot handle a rough or steel brush, like being brushed vigorously. So instead I have a nice soft brush, and before I wet it, I am just going to try to scrub it right in. And it's hard to see this one. It's nice to work in either natural light or with a ring light for this reason. And I'm just going to do the same thing here. Scrub it in pretty good in a circular motion. I'm going to inspect it thoroughly to make sure that those were not the only two stains. It looked like oil or grease. It looked like that was it. And now I'm going to rinse it with warm water. And basically until this dries and we can take a look, we will not know if that worked. Next is this gorgeous vintage color block zipper sweater. It's just not a super popular vintage brand. It very much has a St. John knit material to it. And it has a couple blemishes that are coffee or makeup. And I'm very optimistic that Grandma's Magic Stain Remover will get these out. I'm going to use the same brush that I used the first time. I'm going to apply it very, very generously, but I'm going to brush very, very lightly. And this is a vintage item, so these stains might have been here for quite some time. It does appear that that worked. So we'll dry it and take another look. I'll probably apply a little bit more just for good measure. Another good tip, and this works with deodorant as well on clothing, is to use the fabric itself to rub it against itself. That appeared to have worked. Again, we won't really know until it comes out of the dryer, but I'm very optimistic. It looks pretty much gone, and even if it is just less visible, I'll be happy to sell it that way because I've done what I can. So I'm going to repeat those steps on all the blemishes throughout, and we'll see how this piece comes out. Next are these express dress pants that have a very, very, very deep stain. I'm actually not going to start with Grandma's Magic Stain Remover because this is just a big stain. I'm gonna start with the pink stuff, which as you can see is kind of like a gritty, like texture cleaning paste. And I'm gonna start by just rubbing that in really good and seeing if that in itself made any effect on this stain or if it's just too deep. And that did virtually nothing. I mean, it's harder to see now because it's wet, but it did nothing. It's still a very deep stain. So if that didn't work, I don't know about Grandma's Magic, but with a roughly gritted brush, I'm going to try it. And again, I'm not going to press down too hard. Even if I remove the stain, if I damage the fabric, then it's very counterproductive because I still have a damaged garment. That doesn't seem to be making a huge difference either, although a bigger difference than the paste. So I'm gonna just keep scrubbing at this. Generally, I go in a circular motion. I'm actually going to let this one set before I rinse it. So I'm gonna pour a little more on there, and we'll just set this one aside while we go on to the next and see if we can get any further development in lightening this stain. Finally, we have this button down that has very clear ink stains, or it could be dye throughout. This one's really far gone. I don't know that this is going to come out, and it can't be sold with this because it won't be purchased with this. It's only J. Crew, and the stains are pretty bad. But I'm really determined to keep items out of landfills and to keep items in circulation and wear. So we're going to see if our Amedex can do anything for us here. Amedex specifically advises not to wet the garment prior to use. And I'm going to use this toothbrush and see what we can do. It does not appear to be lightening this dye at all. At all. To me, this looks like color transfer. Like this was washed with a brand new like navy blue or black item. And I don't know if there's anything that is going to get it out. But this isn't even making a difference here yet. If anything, it's looking worse. Before I even continue, I'm gonna rinse these areas and see. Yeah, so that didn't do anything. We can try once more in one of the same areas, at which point, if it's not working, nothing's going to work, because this is made specially for dye and ink, and it's not happening. Let's see if that did anything. I mean, I'm certainly lightening it, as you can see in this area. Like, I'm lightening it, but I'm not getting rid of it. And being that it's a dress shirt like this, this one might be done. It might be good for a different project. I could continue to work on it, but I think that because there's so much of it at such a high volume, and that, again, that it's a dress shirt, it's just not gonna happen. So this will go into the pile for repurposing and recycling. I might actually dye the whole thing a different color. And here's our last piece. Let me undo this little pearl chain so it's not slapping around in the sink. This is a Dolce Vita vintage designer blouse, and it has what appears to be some makeup stains or food stains throughout. These look like the perfect job for Grandma's Magic Stain Remover. I'm very, very confident that these are going to come right out. The last piece was dye, and it was dark. This is already out. That's all it took, was my hand. A little love. There's a few other spots in here. They might be tough to see, but that was too much. That stain rose right out, so did that one. And I'm gonna get the last few little spots in here. I don't even have to use tools on this. It's coming right out with just my hand. Another great reason for the gloves, even though this isn't a harsh chemical, it's much less awkward doing that, although I might need a brush in here. This has gotta be makeup because it's everywhere, and it's like orange. Again, you always want to do this in good lighting, with a ring light, in front of a window, because it really allows you to see all the spots. And I think that I got almost all of them. So this one will be ready to rinse and check out. So coming back to what we set aside. We set aside these pants because of this stain to let it soak. You can still see it, a lot less, but we can still see it. So at this point, I think I'm just going to sit and repeat. It has already drastically lightened, so hopefully if I continue to let it saturate, I try a few more times, I scrub a bit more, we can get that significantly lightened. It's almost where I might wear it myself because it's so subtle, but I'd really prefer to not sell it that way. A lot of people sell things as is, but you can just get so much more value for something when it doesn't have flaws. The other problem with listing things as is that sure, if you disclose the damage fully and the buyer doesn't read, you know, if you're very clear in both your description and your images about a blemish and the buyer doesn't read, and they open up a case or an INAD or a return, first of all, the platform might side with them, even though they're wrong. Secondly, even if the platform sides with you, like it's still your problem. You still have to respond to the case, deal with the frustration, you know, lose that potential customer coming forward, deal with the headache. They might try to reach you in other means. So I really try not to sell things with major flaws, unless of course, you know, it's like a designer item and it's a small flaw. This stain's almost out. I think with one more of that sit, process, and repeat, it will be out entirely.
And here are the final results. There's no more oil stain on the Titleist vest. That really tough makeup stain came right off of these express pants. This vintage sweater is looking good as new. And I was even able to get most of the ink off this next one after a few more tries. The yellow one, however, it still needs a few rounds of TLC, but I'll try to repeat what I did before and see how that goes.
Thanks for joining me as we clean some items. What are your best tips and tricks for stain removal? Share with us below. If you liked this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you next time, reseller friends.